As Joe Montana speaks, we all got to listen. This is a facility. Again, y'all can be watching any show. You are hanging out with us. We don't take it for granted. Quarterback, speak on this. You think Brock Purdy has anything to prove this season?
Oh, yeah, always. Every quarterback in the NFL has something to prove every single year. And if you're a quarterback in the National Football League and you're not constantly trying to get better or trying to prove that you belong in the league, see you later.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it is, especially Brock Purdy, who was mystery relevant, last pick in the draft, to now a 5-year, $265 million deal. I think it ranks him around 7th highest paid quarterback, right? And it's hard to argue what Joe Montana said. It's not like he hasn't done the job. You look at the first 2 years starting, right? Like, he was third string his rookie year. He went on, and I think 5 or 6 straight regular season wins, took him to the NFC Championship game, all that stuff. Been to 2 NFC Championship games and lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs in overtime.
Yeah.
Like he was the reason. Now there's a multitude of areas in that team that are really good, including Kyle Shanahan, including George Kittle, including CMC when he's healthy. That offensive line, they've purged a lot of that this year. Now CMC is coming back. I think he'll be healthy. I think he'll help him get to the championship again. And I don't know, is it a division championship? It's going to be interesting to see how Brock Purdy plays this year, because he dealt with, not him, but his team has dealt with a lot of injuries last year. And sometimes when you see that happen, you see quarterbacks trying to play outside of themselves and trying to do too much. You didn't see that with Brock Purdy, and maybe that's never going to be Brock Purdy. He's never going to be the guy to just put you on your back no matter what and take you to the promised land, which will be another Super Bowl. What he needs and what Kyle Shanahan needs is the reason why they had a 5-year marriage together. They need him to play in the system. Now, he plays in this system better than any quarterback Kyle Shanahan's had. Granted, given the fact that they have the highest paid contract in the history of the franchise. There's no 49er that's been paid more money than Brock Purdy. So with that, expectations come. And look, you say, and we say that, and it's great, but there's levels to this, right? You're going to have to bring your level of play up because you don't have all the weapons you had last year. Everyone's getting a little bit older. How's CMC going to react? How's this going to happen? How's that? So for me, and what I view quarterbacks as, you better always, in your mind, prove something. And that proving to him is like, last year was just an aberration. It was just the one thing, hey, after we reach Super Bowl, these Kyle Shanahan-led teams, we miss the playoffs the next year. Get back to it. It's going to be a tough division, but there's always something to prove.
Yeah, it's a whole lot to prove for Brock Purdy, because one thing I do know is when you get more money, right, the expectations go up for you to play, all right? This Niners team is not the same Niners team Brock Purdy been playing on as a starter. That's really what got him paid.
Changed.
It has changed. So now you are going to have to cover up a lot of these holes we have on our football team. Last year, you couldn't. We dealt with a lot of injuries. We didn't have that roster that we usually have for you, and you did not deliver. You played very average last year. 20 touchdown passes, 15 picks. If you play like that again this year, you guys will not be going to the playoffs. Brock Purdy has to show that he can carry the team for some games. Yeah. Not for the whole season, but for some games, he has to show this is why you paid me the money. Because to be honest with you, it's not going to be no more, oh, that's just Brock Purdy's 7th-round pick. Because that's what it was when you weren't playing well last year, or when you had a couple bad games. He's mystery relevant. No. You the 7th highest paid now. You said highest paid 49ers. I just instantly just started thinking about all the great 49er players in my head, and he's the highest paid one. It's a whole lot to prove for Brock Purdy, because there is going to be 7 to 8 games this year to where you're going to have to be the best player on the field and ball and carry your team. Can you do that? And if you can't do that, everybody's going to be walking out of that stadium now saying, we paid this dude all that money. What were we? That's what's going to be. Mr. Irrelevant, they ain't going to be saying that no more. It's a whole lot for this young fella to prove.
It's fair to say him being Mr. Irrelevant is now irrelevant. As I'm thinking about it. It's fair to say that. It's completely irrelevant that he was Mr. Irrelevant. Brock Purdy has a ton to prove. Because now, not only do you have to play well for yourself, you got to play well enough to quiet all the distractions. As we're prepping for this show, walking upstairs, Juwan Jennings, the Niners' second leading receiver last year in touchdowns, he says, either pay me or I want to get traded. If y'all do not give me a new deal by the time training camp occurs, Juwan Jennings is like, I want out. So now, Brock, you got to deal with stuff like that. And now we expect you to handle it. We don't expect Shanahan to handle it. I don't expect Trent Williams to handle it. Now, Brock, you have to handle it. Deebo Samuel, gone. Brandon Ayuk coming off an ACL injury. When will he be ready and when will he be back to full speed? Ricky Pearsall is just going into his second year and to some degree his first year because he got shot last year. So there's just a lot going on with the Niners. And more than anything, Chase, I look at it like this. We still have doubts about Brock Purdy. Like, we don't have doubts about the Pats. We don't have doubts about the Josh. In the regular season, we don't have doubts about the Lamars. Most people don't even have doubts about the Joe Burrow on the field. You still have doubts about Brock Purdy. Anybody who you still have doubts about, they have something to prove. Because we're not sure that Brock Purdy is great.
What does he have to do to be sure, though? Because, like, you say doubts. I think there was so many more doubts when he was Mr. Irrelevant, bring back to more relevant information. Because now that he's paid and he's led in 3 years as a starter to 2 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl, it's a lot more than those top 10 lists that people, your graphic you showed in the A block. So my question to you is, like, what doubts, like, will he ever be able to have no doubts as a quarterback? Because that's not his game.
Thinking about it, prepping for this show is, if Brock Purdy has another average or below average season, we'll now look at him after 4 years, and he's had 2 good ones and 2 bad ones. You just as bad as you are good. You just as good as you are bad. He had a great rookie season. Remember, he didn't start the whole year. You had Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance. Had a really good sophomore season. You go to the Super Bowl. 3rd year, he's 6-9 as a starter. If this year he's 6-9 again, say he's 6-10, say he plays all 17 games, say he's 6-11, say he's 7-10. Now all of a sudden we're looking up, James, and after 4 years, you've had 2 great ones, you've had 2 bad ones. Who are you? You Jekyll? I don't know who you are. So the dilemma, Chase, is there at this point 2 good years, 1 average year, maybe 1 bad year. It could be 2 good years, 2 bad years. What kind of quarterback is he?
But not only that, the doubt comes in at which always the doubt has been, what do you look like without all your pieces?
Yeah.
And last year was the first time we truly seen him without all his pieces. And it was not good. You're coming into this year, you're not as good as you've been on defense, and you're not as good as you've been on offense. What is it going to look like for you? Are you still going to look like this quarterback that we talk about is special for Kyle Shanahan's system and win games? That's where the doubt comes in, because we don't know we do know how Brock Purdy looks with not a loaded roster, and it's 6-9. So that's the doubt. How are you going to look without a loaded roster? We know what you look like with a loaded roster. It's to the Super Bowl. Very, very good. What do you look like without a loaded roster? That's why I say it's a whole lot for him to prove, because this is not a loaded roster.
There's always something to prove for sure. But for me, it's like, if you put him in that boat, then there's only 4 quarterbacks in the NFL, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, that don't have any doubts. Like I don't have any doubts.
You gotta put
Maybe
Jay
Stafford
in there too.
Maybe Stafford, but Stafford didn't go to the playoffs or didn't have a playoff win in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like, for how good he was, now it's special, right? But, like, those are the 4. I don't know if Brock Purdy, and I think it's completely fine, I don't know if Brock Purdy is ever going to get into that. There's always going to be doubts about him. It's how you handle and how you play within the scheme. You said bad year last year. It wasn't great, but there is a lot of stuff around that where the injuries and they were playing with 3rd and 4th stringers. You follow the Niners more than anyone on national television, I would suggest. You know that, and it's not an excuse whatsoever. But it's like, I think we have to understand he's the upper to middle tier of quarterbacks, and he'll probably always live right there. Yeah. And you can win with quarterbacks like that if your roster is good, because all these guys need rosters. Josh Allen hasn't won a Super Bowl.
But he
hasn't been to a Super Bowl with how good he's been.
The only pushback I'll give, obviously I'm a Brock Purdy fan, love Brock Purdy, and as you do as well. Yeah. The only pushback I'll give is Brock Purdy at his worst now has shown us it's bad, the 6-9 record. Jalen Hurts, for whatever you think about him, he's never missed the playoffs, ever. Like, even when the Eagles had that terrible losing streak in 2023, lost to the Bucs in the playoffs, Hurts has never missed the playoffs. You know, say what you will about Joe Burrow, at least you have the excuse that, he's hurt when they missed the playoffs. At least you can have some sort of excuse. Sure. And the year that he was healthy, they missed the playoffs. He had 40 touchdowns and he went crazy. Josh Allen, he don't miss the playoffs. Lamar Jackson, say what you will about his playoff woes. When he's healthy, he doesn't miss the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes, he doesn't need to be mentioned in this conversation. So for me with Brock Purdy, now the dilemma is, at his best, he's an all-pro caliber, MVP finalist quarterback. But the dilemma now for me is, at your worst, who are you? And I look at athletes, not just who are you at your best, how bad are you at your worst? That, to me, really tells me where an athlete should fall.
But not only that, like, Now we looking at you, man. You making a whole lot of money. When we in this huddle, we looking at you to be one of the better players on the field, wherever you was drafted at or whatever everybody think about you, whatever doubts anybody. When you calling the play, bro, you making a whole lot of money. We looking at you to make those plays. Brock Purdy, right? We've all been around some really good quarterbacks. And whether you watch it from the side, come on.
Yeah.
I've been in some huddles with some really good quarterbacks. We believe in them dudes. Brock Purdy, you have to really let the Niners know, I got you.
Yeah.
Because last year you didn't with this roster.